Hey, what's going on, U.S. History people? This is Mr. Norris,
And Mr. Lawrence.
and we are starting today with arguably the biggest and most important unit that we will cover this entire year, the Constitution of the United States. In video number one, we're going to focus on the goals and purpose of United States government and government in general. So let's get going.
So the first question we need to answer is, what is the purpose of government? Now remember, we're taking U.S. history and government. So this course is a history course, but also a little political science as well. So this is where we have to get into that part of the course. So what is the purpose of government? Well, one of the basic answers to this question is to maintain order in a society. And governments do that in a variety of different ways.
Chaos would be very bad. Another purpose of government is to make laws for people to follow, and this helps promote that ordered society. If people know what laws to follow and are not breaking them, then in theory that will help promote order and peace.
Now, once these laws are created, you also need to enforce them to make sure that they are being followed. And if they are not being followed, then there's possibly consequences for that. So these are the three basic operations of any form of government.
Now, guys, jumping ahead, try to think really quick. What branch of government does the enforcing of laws? Write it down in your packet. And if you know this, you will get a surprise tomorrow. So does the government affect me on my way to school? Mr. Lawrence, on my way to work this morning, I got up. Does the government play a role in my life?
The answer is yes.
And they absolutely do. The alarm clock, believe it or not, time is regulated by the government. Do you know what helped create time zones in U.S. history?
I think it's the development of railroads.
Absolutely. We will talk about that later. So how does something as simple as like showering or brushing my teeth, how is the government involved in that?
Well, if you think about it, when you turn on your faucet, do you test your water before you take a drink of water or brush your teeth?
I do not, no.
No, normally most of us just get in and hopefully it's a safe water supply. And it is because of our government is set up to provide us with that clean, fresh water.
Absolutely. Think about clothes and breakfast. Food is regulated through the FDA, which we will learn about later this year. Driving to school, you have speed limits. You can't pass a school bus with red lights flashing. Lots of traffic laws is probably the biggest one that you'll notice going to school. What about your classes? Are you required to take United States history?
That's right. This course that we're taking is mandated, and it's a New York State requirement. Even this morning when I stopped to get my cup of coffee, I paid $1 for my coffee, but did I only pay $1?
Ooh, no. You paid something called a sales tax.
That's right. Sometimes we refer to it maybe as an excise tax.
Yes, absolutely.
Nice.
Good call. All right, so let's talk about some examples of how government affects our daily lives. We just talked about on the morning trip into school. Again, we talked about some traffic laws, and you, of course, have to obey the stop sign.
Also, we see time zones, as you said earlier, with the development of railroads will be important, really setting the time that we live within our nation.
You know, what's the deal with Indiana? Like half of it is in the eastern, the other like quarter, even though it's not some of it, most of it is in the eastern time zone, some of it's in the central. Can't it just make up its mind?
Who knows?
And same with Florida. Look at Florida. That little like panhandle area is in the central time zone. And also we have police officers whose purpose is to prevent crime. And we also have, where you are sitting,
public schools.
Public schools.
Which are actually a recent development in more modern American history, the idea that students actually have to go to school.
Absolutely. And all these are funded through
taxes.
Taxes. As you mentioned a sales tax. We have income taxes. You name it, there's a tax for it. So let's jump ahead to, in our Constitution, read along with me, please. We have a list of 6 goals that our government seeks to accomplish in our daily lives. Where in the Constitution can these goals be located? So if you have a book or some sort of reading and you really want to get someone's attention, where are you going to put this information, Mr. Lawrence?
I would say at the beginning. At the introduction.
Introduction, perfect. And what is the introduction of the Constitution called?
Well, it's referred to as the Preamble. So this is the beginning of our Constitution that outlines these kind of basic goals and ideas of what this new American government is going to look like after really the end of the Articles of Confederation and the creation of this new government.
And let's take a look at these 6 goals. Number 1, to form a more perfect union. In other words, to form a perfect or as close to perfect as possible government.
The next one is to establish justice. So this idea that there is some form of equity or balance within society, that all people have to follow the same law equally.
Ensuring domestic tranquility means that it is mostly a time of peace and that people can feel safe in the country.
Provide for the common defense. Again, one of those basic roles of any government is to provide protection for its citizens.
Promoting the general welfare is to make sure that American citizens are provided for and live a pretty good standard of life.
And finally, number 6 is to secure the blessings of liberty, that idea of having choice, of having some forms of basic freedoms within this new government.
All right, so we will finish up with this video number 1, but we'd like you to, again, turn to your video question response sheet. And of those 6 goals we just looked at, please write down, this is an opinion question, so there's no right answer here, but which of those 6 goals do you feel is most important, and explain why in a minimum of
3 sentences.
3 sentences.
Remember, this time we're learning to write like political scientists.
Ooh, we're jumping from the historians to political scientists. Look at that. We are preparing you guys for life. All right, if you have any questions, write them down. We will go over them in class. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good day.